Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yanti Amos and I teach yoga and Shotokan karate globally. I'd love today to share with you a whole series of mantra, and the first one we will start with is called the Asato Ma mantra. It's also known as the Pavamana mantra, but it's a purifying mantra. So one thing to note about it is that you can use it in your own practice, and it's one that you would chant in order to evoke or invoke a sense of well-being for your own body, your own mind, and you could also send out good energy for humanity as well. But it really is to encourage you to be your very best self. And so it's not about material gain, it's not about prosperity like some of the mantra. This is about attainment of your personal knowledge and your wisdom, and it's a bit of a focus on oneself. So let's go. I'm going to recite it and then I'll go through the lines so that we can understand a little bit more the background and some of the key words. So big breath in. Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. So it's all about leading us, or if I'm saying it, it's leading me from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. So what does that even mean? Okay, so let's go line by line, and we can look a little bit at the breakdown. Asato Ma Satgamaya. So this line asks us for guidance from illusion. And when you see transliterations of mantra or shloka that refer to illusion, I like to think about it as the illusion of material goods or material wealth, the illusion of our day-to-day, which is all about the trappings of life. So that's a sort of illusion and a falsehood, and they refer to it as in the word asat, asato ma. So from asat, truth or reality, which is sat. So you'll hear that quite a lot in different other mantra. So basically, it's a call for a spiritual awakening. It's a seeking of what they call the true nature of our existence, something beyond the superficial and beyond those, as I said earlier, the illusory aspects of life. So we're looking for substance. We're looking for how do we achieve virtue, and how do we achieve truth, and how do we understand what's really important in our lives. So let's go to the second line. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. So the phrase asks us to lead us from darkness, tamas, and it's often interpreted as ignorance or lack of awareness, to the light, jyoti. So that represents knowledge, wisdom, enlightenment, awakening, that sort of thing. So the next line is Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. So this final line asks us to be guided from death, Mrityor. So this is understood to be literally, but also metaphorically, about the cycle of birth, rebirth, and reincarnation into immortality. And that is referred to as Amrita. So that symbolizes spiritual liberation, eternal life, and freedom from that cycle of reincarnation. So overall, what I would say this mantra expresses is the desire for spiritual growth, for enlightenment, but it's moving us from a state of ignorance and limitation toward knowledge and awareness and liberation and wisdom. So this next mantra is really interesting because some people get it mixed up with the previous mantra that I just did, the Asato Ma mantra. But you'll see in a minute that it's actually quite different and quite unique, even though some of the themes that are touched are very similar to the previous one. It's the Om Ajnana mantra. It's also known as the teacher's mantra. And I love it because it's one of the first mantra I ever learned years ago when I was learning at the Bhakti Center in New York City. And it was a really beautiful way to acknowledge the lineage of not just your direct teacher, the teacher that you actually personally know, but the teachers, and all that lineage that comes down from generations prior. And so it's a way to acknowledge your teacher, your teacher's teachers, and then way beyond that in previous generations. So let's go. It goes like this. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, the meaning. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual teacher opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. So I offer my respectful obeisances to them. So you can refer to one individual teacher, but you could also be referring, as I said earlier, to many in a whole lineage. Or you could even be referring to the context of your many diverse teachers of many different subjects in your lifetime, if you're a student at college or a student at school. So, first line, Ajnana Timirandhasya. This refers to being born in the darkest of ignorance, as I said earlier, but it signifies the state of ignorance or the lack of true understanding that you haven't yet achieved. So ajnana equals ignorance, timira is darkness. And then we go on to the second line, which is Jnananjana Shalakaya. It refers to, and this is a little bit weird, you might think, but it's the ointment of knowledge, Jnananjana. So it's applied with a sharp instrument, which is Shalakaya, but it's a sort of metaphor. It's a metaphor that suggests that knowledge or wisdom has the power to cut through ignorance. Just as, say, ointment applied to a wound can actually penetrate and heal the wound. So that's sort of the metaphor there. And then the next line, Chakshur Unmilitam Yena, that refers to eyes opened up by, it indicates that one's perception and vista or outlook has been transformed and it's been clarified by the wisdom or the guidance that your teacher has bestowed. So the next line is Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And so that last little bit basically means I offer my obeisances to my teacher and my teacher's teacher. So this isn't really an expression of gratitude, of reverence to your teacher, but towards the guru or the spiritual teacher. It could be just maybe a language teacher or someone at school. It's a teacher who is imparting this wisdom. And so this is the whole, that last line is really what makes it very unique, this mantra, because the emphasis is on your personal relationship, whether that this is, a guru who you've never met because he's already or she's already passed away. But it could very well be someone who is personal to you and who is known to you. So you can use it in any context that way. Now, what I wanted to just point out at this stage of my video is that there is a contrast and a comparison between the two mantra. And if people get mixed up as to when to use them, I'll just go through I made some little notes for you. In certain traditions, the Om Ajnana mantra is actually recited before study, or it's recited before some kind of discourse. Maybe someone's giving a motivational speech, or maybe it's something from the Bhagavad Gita, some spiritual texts. So you recite it prior to the actual discourse because you want to pay respect to the person who's interpreting and teaching the spiritual text, let's say, or you also want to, in a larger way, you want to give some deference and respect to that teacher's teacher or the teachers that went before. So that's a common thing about the Om Ajnana mantra and when it would be recited. So it's used to express gratitude and it's common in spiritual and educational settings. Asato Ma, on the other hand, is It's a broader prayer in a sense because it's intended for spiritual growth and guidance, but it might be something you say is very personal to you, and you definitely would use it in the context of your meditation or quietly saying to yourself and repeating many times. It's really to encourage your spiritual progress. So know the difference. Om Jnana is more about a relationship with a teacher, whereas the other Asato Ma is about your spiritual progress. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you like this content, please go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye, everyone.